Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. I am okay. Look, we've qualified into Europe. We thought it was the Europa League. Man United have gone and beat Man City. We are now not going to the Europa League because they will. The FA Cup winners automatically get qualification into the Europa League. Some clubs need it more than others. There's been a few upsets in history. I remember when Wigan beat Man City about 10 years ago and they qualified for the Europa League. But this time it's Man United. They were the underdogs going into this game, and credit to Ten Hag, credit to them. The pressure was on and they've delivered ultimately. And that's what big clubs are supposed to do. So for me, I can't help but feel disappointed that we're going to the Conference League. But it is our reality based on what we've seen, and it's still a progression from last season. Anyone who argues with that is deluded, because last year we couldn't get Europe, and this year, even though it's not Europa or Champions League, it's still Europe. So what that's going to give us an opportunity to do is to rotate and just utilise our squad in a different way. Providing we don't have another injury crisis, it will really benefit team morale and just giving players game time all around the pitch. You know, we've had players like Mudryk and Madueke who have been integrated into the squad. If there's a manager who likes a player more than another one, at least give them the chance to, at least give the players a chance to have a run out in these Conference League competitions so that they can break into the squad another way. Because if you're just doing it domestically, there's a lot of games, but for how big our squad is, there's not enough games, if I'm totally honest. But yeah, what this is going to mean for Chelsea, we don't actually automatically qualify for the Europa Conference League. We actually have to play a playoff game, two playoff games, home and away, as far as I'm aware, and they will be taking place in August on the August the 22nd and August the 29th. So those two games will take place. If we win that leg, then we qualify to the competition. If we lose, we get no European football. So all of this hype that we've been talking about, all this progression, could actually be undone in two games. So don't bottle it, guys. But yeah, that's a little way away. Let's just reminisce a little bit and talk about why we're in this position. Look, I've been pretty much behind Pochettino most of the season. There's been games where he's been disastrous. There's been games where the players have been disastrous. But ultimately, this situation that's happened to us and Chelsea, it's our own doing. We have to take responsibility for the fact that we're in this league and hold our hands up and say we still weren't good enough. If I flick through the results we've had this season, you know, we lost against West Ham, we lost against Nottingham Forest, we lost against Aston Villa, all at the beginning of the season. You know, we should have got 3 points against Arsenal at home. We bottled that game. We lost to Brentford at home. We got smashed away at Newcastle, smashed away at United, Everton the same thing. Beaten on Christmas Eve by Wolves when I was wearing a bloody Christmas hat. And the list just goes on of poor results that we've had. Liverpool away, Wolves at home, Brentford away, Sheffield away, Arsenal away. And although we did bounce back and eventually we picked up some form from that Aston Villa game when we should have won that game 3-2, but it was 2-2. The results that we dropped was still not good enough, and ultimately we have to accept that this is the position Chelsea are in. If we are going to get anywhere with the squad that we have, we need a good manager. In my opinion, we had that, and that's now gone. So whoever comes in has got a tough job on their hands straight away. I'm hearing rumours about McKenna, we've got De Zerbi on the list, Thomas Frank, and the guy from Leicester. You know, these aren't inspirational names. These do not fill me with confidence. I don't feel like with this current squad they'll be able to do much better than Pochettino would have. Especially if you look at the injury crisis we had. Would any other manager be able to do better in that situation? I leave that question over to you. But one thing that it seems like we're doing, which surprises me, is we are looking at some good players. Elise, is a player that we're competing for with Man United for about 60 million. Now, if we do get him, and he's a clear upgrade on Madueke, he's a clear upgrade on Mudryk, and he's an upgrade on Sterling as well. And I would get rid of any of those three players to bring in Elise. I can't doubt the progression there, but it's not just one position that's going to make your team better. We've got to improve in so many different positions. And ultimately, when you look at the season that we've had and you look at the points we've dropped, there's been games where we've missed some crazy chances. Like in the Cup semi-final against Man City, Jackson had 3 clear chances and we should have easily won that game, but we didn't. And we got a lot of stick for it and we deserved that stick. And that's just one example. But then defensively as well, you look at the amount of clean sheets that we've kept in the league generally. We just couldn't keep the ball out of our net. I mean, how many games this season have Chelsea conceded 2 or more goals? I'd love to know the stats on that. How many games have we conceded 2 or more goals? Because we've really struggled to keep clean sheets. We're going to be getting rid of Chalobah, most likely if an offer comes in. I'm hearing 25 million. I think that's pathetic. And we're going to get rid of Gallagher, who's a very defensively, well, not defensively minded, but he's a good defensive player. If you have Gallagher on your team, he's a workhorse and he helps you so much. And Caicedo said that as well publicly. He said, when I'm with Gallagher, I feel like I have a lot of help. And that's not necessarily the case with Enzo Fernandez. He can't cover that distance. So whoever comes in is going to be looking to change the style, change the way we play. We're looking to dominate teams more. We're looking to dominate possession more, stay in control of the game and be defensively solid. If you look at the criteria in order to manage this Chelsea side, it's a bit strange. I can't lie to you. You've got to be able to collaborate with the board. You've got to be able to deal with the pressure from the media. It's like any job really, but yeah, I guess that's on the list. We are Chelsea. And one of the surprising things was you have to be able to compete and go toe-to-toe with Arteta and Guardiola. So why are we looking at Kieran McKenna and all these other managers who have never done anything at the top level? I mean, this just baffles me. It baffles me. And I see disciples of Pep Guardiola being very successful. Arteta, Ten Hag just won the FA Cup as well, as we alluded to. And Enzo from Leicester, he's another one of those disciples. Harry Winks came out saying he's one of the best managers, the best man manager he's ever had. And tactically, he's like no one else. But this is not the Championship. You're not playing Bristol City away. You're not going to Reading, who are now in League One. Sorry, Cam. You're not going to these teams. You are going to be playing at, established grounds with a serious foundation. Like, exceptional tactical knowledge is the bare minimum in the Premier League. Now, I look at a manager like Thomas Frank, for example, and I think he's exceptional. I think he's a great manager. And this is another manager who makes the shortlist at Chelsea. But he's a great manager with the resources that Brentford have. With the fact that they're capped. He is also capped. This is why not every manager gets the big job. Because not all of them are able to level up to the standard where you're pushing for trophies and winning matches week in, week out like it's the norm. Now at Brentford, they don't need to do that. At Leicester, they won't need to do that next season. That's the same with Ipswich. In the Championship, obviously, it's a different story. You've got a bigger budget than everyone else. Ultimately, you have an advantage in that sense. So you're able to get better players in, make the manager look better, etc. I just think that what's going on is very, very strange. I don't see a clear plan. I don't see clear direction. I know that there's a structure in place and the owners want to remain consistent with that structure. But for me, the manager is the forefront of any structure. And, if you were going to trust anyone, you're going to trust the guy who's working with these players week in, week out. Lawrence Stewart cannot teach Nicholas Jackson how to finish. Paul Stanley, he can't tell Mudryk how to get into the right spaces. All these guys can do is spot the talent and give it to a manager. So, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I just feel very uninspired thinking about Chelsea and the fact that we're in the Conference League as well. I mean, Kazakhstan away, wherever I'm going, it's going to be great. It's going to be lots of fun. But it's not ideal at all. I mean, the Europa League would have been respectable. The Conference League, one of the few positives that we can take from being in this competition, provided we do win the two-leg playoff, is that we should win and we don't have an excuse not to win. We're Chelsea, for crying out loud. We won the Champions League twice in recent history, won the Europa League twice, and to go in the Conference League and not win will be an embarrassment. And that will be an indictment on whether we actually are a serious club or not, or trying to get to that level, because right now I don't think we're a serious club. Some people still believe that there is a process. That process burnt as soon as you got rid of Poch. And he's a happy man. I saw him at one of Nusrat's famous restaurant, you know, the Salt Bay guy. I saw him at one of the restaurants. He's loving life. Pochettino doesn't care. He doesn't have to deal with this mess anymore. He's probably relieved. Get me away. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. All of that. And whoever comes in is going to have to clean up the mess and deal with what's going on, not just on the pitch, but outside the pitch, because it's a mess upstairs just as well as everywhere, as well as on the pitch. As fans, we've got to stick through it. We're going to roll with the punches. I'm not saying that, you know, fans shouldn't renew their season tickets. I've seen some fans do that. I don't necessarily agree, but I understand why people are so angry. I understand why people want to protest. Ultimately, it's your decision, isn't it? But yeah, we're in the Conference League, and yeah, Man United have done us dirty there with the win over City. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to be in the Conference League? Do you believe we can win it? And what's your thoughts on Chelsea at the moment?